We can do what we want. All right, here we go. All right, welcome everyone to Get This Rugby Podcast. We're up to episode 15 with the legend Chew. How are you, mate?
How you going? Good day to everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going pretty good. 15 rounds. It was a 14 rounds. Hang on.
No, 14 this week. So we've got 5 to go.
Yep.
I thought before we started that, how about we touch on the Wallabies, mate? So we had a win.
Yeah. It was. I thought they'd probably win. I'm not too sure Wales are that interested, but anyway, they got away with it, and I didn't think it was much of a game really. It was, it was okay. So beats getting beat, I suppose.
Yeah, there's been a lot made of it. Definitely, it's an improvement on the crap we threw out last year, but and I like the way the coach talked after the game. So there's a bit of hope there. But I think we got a lot of improvement in us.
Oh, it needed to be, didn't it? We were going nowhere pretty fast. So only had, it was disastrous couple of years. So there's only one way to go.
But I thought one positive, especially in the first half, a set piece was good. We were good. We were pretty good at the rucks, which maybe that's his influence straight away. And I thought the blokes definitely had a dig, which is an improvement on the past.
Well, you'd expect to, wouldn't you? You're playing for your country, first test of the year. I just can't. I can never imagine why you wouldn't.
Yeah,
should be playing it like it's the last game you ever played in your life.
Yeah, I think their big test is going to be this week because it's easy to trot out one, but can they back it up? Wales will be keen to fucking level her up.
Where's that game at?
In Melbourne this week.
Oh, right.
Which will be interesting after the Rebels have been booted out. How many people will go? I don't know.
Where are they playing it at? That indoor stadium?
Yeah, Amy Park.
Yeah, right.
No, Amy Park, yeah. Not the indoor one. Where the Melbourne Storm play.
I just don't know why they're not playing in Brisbane. Like, I would have thought that made more sense, but anyway.
It's a weird thing. They're playing there, and then the Georgia one, which is the other test, that's back in Sydney again. So they're not playing unless we're going to play a rugby championship game in Brisbane or something. I don't know. It's strange.
Well, we've got to play the Blacks out here somewhere. If they're playing 2 tests in Sydney, it might be in Brisbane.
Well, it must be. I reckon. Yeah, so anyway, that was that.
I would have thought they'd play that in Sydney just at Homebush, but because they'd probably go close to filling it. But
anyway, we might talk about that a bit later.
Yep.
So
last week's round.
Start the review of last week. So we started at TG Milner, mate. I'd say, what would you term this an upset? The Hunters winning.
What was the final score? I know it was only a couple of points.
29-28.
29-28, was
it?
Yeah. I watched it and, wow, it's a strange sort of game. It was funny, like Newcastle just kept coming at them. Yeah. And there was a lot of soft tries in this game, I've got to say. But Newcastle showed a lot of fight. And they probably needed to as well because they've been very disappointing all year, really. But I suppose that still gives them a little bit of hope. Don't know.
Maybe just a much.
Yeah, well, they're still kicking, I guess, and a few of their guys played really well. Just Eastwood's defence was woeful. Like when they got away a bit, they just kept letting Newcastle back in the game with some really soft tries, and some of the tackling was just terrible. But
it was a funny game. Like Newcastle started well; they led 12-0, and then Eastwood scored next 21 points, so they led 21-12. And then Hunter scored a couple of tries.
Yeah,
I think it was. They got back in front, and Eastwood scored, and then Hunter scored at the end.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they scored right on the end, and guy had to kick the goal to get them home, I think.
Yeah, so it was an exciting game because the scores were close, but yeah, not about the quality, mate. But again, yeah.
Well, you're probably looking at teams that are going to finish 7th and 8th or something like that.
Yeah.
And,
unless one of them goes on a real run from here, like
yeah,
I can't see.
it's like
you know.
we were talking about before. I think it's been like it for most of the year, but I think there's a pretty big gap between the top 6 teams and the bottom 6 teams. There is a definite cut-off mark with the standard, I think.
Yeah, I think that gap hasn't been around for, I reckon, a good maybe 5 or 6 years. So it's been, yeah, it's real noticeable this year.
Yeah,
I'm not sure whether that's or just the way it's worked out.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like all year to me. I think we picked the 6 as it is now from after a couple of weeks of the competition, really, and
yeah,
that hasn't really changed. But yeah, I'll wait and see. We've still got a few rounds to go.
Yeah, so Eastwood and Hunter. Eastwood and Hunter are both on 5 wins, so they can't. You think?
No, it's not enough. They're going to have to win all their games, I'd say.
14 points out of the top 6. They can't make it. I can't.
How many out?
Yeah, anyway, we'll move on to
How many points out are they?
Well, they're 14 points out of the 6 with 5 rounds to go. That's a lot of points.
Someone would have to lose a lot of games, and someone would have to win all their games, I suppose.
Well, North would have to lose 3 or 4 games, so that won't happen.
Yeah.
And we'll go to North Sydney next. So we had North over West Harbour, 46-34. Again, North's not doing it easy.
Gee,
what do we say about this?
What's wrong with North? There's something just not right about them, and I don't know what it is. Well, I think I just don't like the way they're structuring their play, and they put the 10 in defence back at fullback. And I know a lot of that's just a copycat league because a few teams do it, and I just don't like it. And I don't know, they score some good tries, and then they let West score some really soft tries. Poor old West, gee, they can go all right for 10 minutes, then they'll just let in a try that you'd get up 10-year-olds for letting in. Yeah. And some of their defence was shocking. But yeah, it's just something at North. I can't put my finger on it exactly. It's just something missing there. I don't know what they're just lacking, and I don't know why. I thought they'd be going a lot better than what they are. And I think they've been struggling for about 6 or 8 weeks, like they just haven't been the same. And I'm not sure. I think a couple of their backs played pretty well. The guy at 12 and his brother, who I think was playing fullback.
Yeah,
both had pretty good games. Yeah, they weren't too bad up front. Are pretty solid. But West, they won a couple of weeks ago, but that was always going to be a hard out for them, I think. But wasn't unexpected. But gee, I don't know that North can be that happy with that game. Like a win's a win, I guess. But
yeah,
gee, if they think they're going to go any good in the semis, they're going to have to play a lot better than that.
It's just hard to see what's going on, mate. Like they've lost all their intensity in their defence. They're scoring, they're scoring points, but they're leaking too many.
Well, I thought, them and Randwick were to me last year and the start of this year, they were probably the best defensive teams, and North aren't anywhere close to being the best defensive team now.
No, honestly, I don't know what to think. They're winning. Like people have said to me, look at the positives, they're winning. Yeah, but you've got to look how you're winning. So I'm at a loss to know what.
Yeah,
they've got the talent, mate.
I know, and they've got they're lucky. They've got another still relatively easier game this week. They're not playing anyone. I don't know how their draw is for the final part of the season, but they're going to have a few hard games coming up. But at the moment, I can only see them finishing 6th. But,
they're going
to have to do it the hard way from there, I guess.
They've got Gordon in round 17 and then Manly in round 18. So apart from that, they probably should win the next 4 weeks. But I think they still make finals, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
The thing about it, for me, if they could somehow flick a switch and get that intensity back, they're a dangerous team in the finals. But they've got
I agree. And they just, I don't know. Like I thought their outside backs played a lot better this week. I still think they're lacking a 10. I'd like to see that young fella start going to the line more and running straight. And he tends to run a bit sideways. And he did a couple of good things, but I don't think he's been in particularly good form this year. And I think that's got a bit to do with it. But, they'll be all right. They'll make the semis. And I think, they might go on a run too. Who knows?
Yeah, wait and see. Well, mate, let's go to the next game. Coogee Oval was the one we went to, and we had a great time out there. Randwick over Gordon 15-11. I've stated best game of the year that I've seen, and I think you agree.
Mate, first I'd like to say, thanks to all the Randwick people, Horsey and all the officials and the supporters there, and some of the Randwick hierarchy there. They were the respect and the hospitality they showed us was great, and they were a class act over there, and it was a great day, and it was it was really enjoyable. It was really good catching up with Poito as well. Hadn't seen him for a while. He's looking really good, and looks like he could probably still run around. But I think we might have been seeing the 2 grand final teams. I think, but it was they certainly got stuck into each other. Yeah,
I think for me that was the highlight of the day when you were talking to Poito after the game. That was a highlight for me personally. Two legends.
Great bloke, and it was good. I missed out on a few functions due to being in hospital and a few things like that with the Waratahs and different things, and I hadn't seen him for a couple of years, so that was great. But that game, I think the Gordon and the Randwick blokes would have taken them a few days to get over that game. That was probably the toughest game this year, I think.
Absolutely,
they certainly got stuck into it. And
defence.
And you know what? People rave on about that, tries and bonus points and stuff. That was a great game of rugby. And what was it? 3 tries scored in the whole game or something?
Yeah.
And just because there's not a lot of tries scored doesn't mean it can't be a good game. Rugby's got a lot more to it than just scoring tries.
Oh,
and
it was a great game.
I think we saw just about all of that. I thought, look, both teams defended really well. I thought. What was interesting, I thought, with particularly Gordon, all this year they've been quite happy to get the ball and play field position relentlessly, really. And I don't know whether it was the occasion on the weekend or not, but the first half, and they had a fair breeze behind them. They didn't kick it that much, and I think they played a little bit differently, and they tried to do it a bit in the second half, but then they were running into a bit of a wind then. And I think Randwick sort of turned the Gordon game plan right around and did what they should have done in the first half, where Dugan just steered them around the field. And I really think in the first half, Gordon's, I reckon, left at least 10 points on the field that at half time, what was it? It was
11-10.
Well, it was level or 1 point in it, wasn't it?
Yeah, 11-10, yeah.
Yeah, like it could have been 21-10 or something like that.
Yeah.
It probably should have been. They dead set should have scored a couple of tries. And I think in the big games, you've got to take those opportunities. And I think that was probably where Gordon lost that game, because then when Randwick turned with the wind, it was always going to be hard. But you've got to hand it to them. Both teams really stuck at it. It was a great game.
Yeah, it was like everything you said was just a great game. They both went at each other. I think I agree with you what you say about Gordon. If they look at the whole game in context, they'll see that they just didn't take their chances. And in the second half, even when they had good field position, they made mistakes that they don't normally make. That was probably Randwick's defence. But, mate, we got to talk about the last play, basically, where the referee gives a scrum penalty, and I still can't work out whether he was right or I think he was probably wrong, in my opinion, because...
Well, I thought the ref had a pretty good game for most of the game, and then he pulled out that scrum penalty like out of his bum, which he hadn't done all day.
Yeah.
And it probably could have cost Gordon the game. Maybe it did. I don't know. But that's what gets me with some of the refs. You don't introduce, like, if you've been playing something all day, you don't just pull one out in the last 5 minutes out of the blue. It's that was strange. But other than that, overall, I thought he had a pretty good game. That fella.
Yeah, he did. It's a shame to talk about that because it was such a good game of footy. But, mate, if other teams look at that game and they think that they can, if they can't defend at that level, they're not winning anything. And that was the highest level game, like in defence. The attack probably could have been better. You know? There
was some good, like, there was times there, particularly in the second half, where Randwick threw everything at Gordon and they didn't really break, you know. Randwick did some great blindside stuff and some good interchange passing up the middle of the field. And they didn't score off it. The scrambler defence and some of the stuff up front, they were sticking it in, and it was real good to watch, actually. It was probably the best game I've seen all year, I'd say.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of people agree with us on that comment, and so, you know, that's good. And but, you know, the last thing I wanted to say about that game and maybe that day, mate, is a comment that Poito said to me. I asked him, what was it like to play with you back in the day? And he said, if I was going to war, I'm taking PK with me. So I thought that summed up the day, mate.
Yeah, that's cool. He went pretty good himself. So he was. There weren't too many tougher blokes around than Poito. He never stopped. That's for sure. The big ticker, and I thought there's some really good performances out there. Houston played his out of his skin again. I thought, how he's not playing rep football is a mystery, I reckon. I thought their hooker had a very good game.
Yeah.
I thought their front row played pretty well, the Randwick guys. For Gordon, I thought who was the second row? We were saying usually he loses the ball a lot, but he didn't lose the ball the other day. And what's his name?
Big John Alcohol. He actually played quite well, didn't he?
Mate, I thought that's probably the best game he's had all season, I'd say.
And their captain, number 8, Basson, he was again really strong. They're a good pack though as a group, Gordon.
Well, I think that the two packs, you know, it was probably a split decision there, wasn't it? You know,
it
wasn't much in it. I think just Deegan's the experience and the tactics Randwick played the second half. That's what won them the game, I think.
That's right.
They were making just Gordon had to go the hard way from the other end of the field all day in the second half, and that's hard work, and especially in a game like that. And that was it. You know, if would have been interesting if Gordon had a lead at half time, how Randwick would have played that second half. Probably the same. But it was a good quality game, and I look forward to seeing them get together again, actually.
Yeah, at the grand finals like that, we'll be happy.
For sure.
Well, let's move on to not such a positive result. So we had Sydney Uni 56, South 0. Sadly, we saw South struggle here, didn't we, mate?
I knew South would be struggling by this time of year just because of the lack of depth they got at the club, and they knocked Uni over in the first round at home. But look, Uni had to win that really, and South the last few weeks have been struggling just with the personnel they got. I think this week, well, it might have been last week as well. Portuguese was either playing 6 or 8, and not in the second row, and I think they're just struggling for blokes at the moment. It's got that stage of the year where you get a few injuries, and because they're just lacking in depth, that I think they're really going to struggle from here to the end.
Yeah, they lost a front rower quite early to a head knock, so that didn't help.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah. So. Uni won the game, but there wouldn't have been too many teams that wouldn't have beaten South last weekend.
Unfortunately, it wasn't one of the best days. Sad to see, but anyway.
There's not much more you can say about that. But it was a good game for Uni because, geez, if they'd lost another one, there'd be guys jumping off the gap, and it's only what is it? I think the 4th win of the season.
Fourth win, yeah.
And
they're still alive. Maybe.
How far out of the 6 are they?
They're 11 points out, so that's still a fair way, isn't it? Virtually 3 wins. That. So.
But geez, if they didn't have so many bonus points, they'd probably come in second last or something.
But, they would be 10th without bonus points.
Yeah.
So anyway,
that Uni had to win that game, and they did. So just move on.
Yeah, that's right. So they did. So next game was out of Granville, mate. So we had East beating 2 Blues 47-28. So I'll start off. 2 Blues led early, 14-0.
Well, how was it when we were sitting there, and I nearly fell off the chair when I saw the score after 5 minutes or something.
Yeah, but after that, it was East cruised after that. So, which you kind of tipped, I didn't. But.
Look, East are just too good for a team like Para, who they're okay in their day, but when you play against a quality outfit like that East team, it's always going to be a long day. And poor old Para, I watched it, and East just moved the ball and did things to them. They just couldn't defend it really, and they're always struggling. But the thing that worries me about East, the soft tries they let him. And after those, look, the first 2 tries were soft, but okay, they came good and got in front. But towards the back end of the game, they just let Power in for another 2-3 tries or something. They just can't play like that and expect to finish strong in the comp, because it's just I don't know, it's just been lackadaisical or lazy, or it's just an attitude thing. I'm not sure, but they did enough to win, and then they sort of stopped playing, I thought. But they're a hard team to beat. They've been a big surprise for me this year, East, and they've got a lot of good players in that team.
No. Well, they got the job done, and that's what they needed to do. 2 Blues, that was almost like a grand final, so that's pretty much, they're in trouble now for finals. They're pretty much.
Well, they're about 10 out, aren't they?
Yeah, 9 points out. But again, it's too much with 5 games to go. And
well, the big games for them this week. If North win and they lose, well, it's probably curtains, isn't it?
Well, it is, yeah. They'd have to beat North with a bonus point to be in it. So, and I can't see that happening in North Sydney. So,
especially with that Sui, the 5'8", got hurt, and he's not in the team for this week. So they're really going to miss him, because he'd be their best player, I'd say, by a fair way.
Yeah, and you look at East, like in that team, they ran out last week. What, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players who played for New South Wales for the Waratahs this year. So they're pretty strong.
You'd be expected to win, and I'll tell you who I do like for Para this year. the big number 3, the prop, the big fella. Geez, I'd like to get hold of him, knock 20 or 30 kilos off him, because he's got great skills. He does such a really good job. If he just did himself a favour and lost some weight, mate, he could be anything, that bloke.
Yeah.
And the hooker's a good player too. I thought they really went well in a team that got beaten. And most of the Parrot games I've seen this year, those two guys in particular have had a dig in every game. And if they could just get fit, geez, it'd make a big difference to them. They'd enjoy their rugby so much more. Because that big fella's got great ball skills.
Good pass.
He could do anything, and he's that big. Like, if he knocked 20 or 30 kilos off it, it wouldn't affect his strength or anything. I'm telling you, he's a big unit.
Right.
He's just got to get off the KFC, I think.
Yeah, mate. All right, mate. Well, the last game was the Beaches Derby, and this was an upset in my view. Manly over Warringah.
We both picked Warringah.
We both tipped Warringah, didn't we? So, and this was just a game where, like talking to Josh Ames, he said Warringah didn't start well, and Manly led 12-0, and it was kind of all uphill from there. Warringah just couldn't get back into the game.
Yeah, it was a funny sort of game. The thing was, though, had the Manly kicker, like, he was missing goals I'd kick. And I think he only kicked one all day, didn't he? Might have been 2.
I think so.
He's missed something like 5 or 6 kicks.
2 all day.
If he kicks goals, Manly probably win 10, 12 points or something. He wasn't just missing. He was missing them by heaps. He was having a shocker. But there's a big crowd out there too. Geez, there was a lot of people there, and a lot of disappointed people at the end, I think, because I think everyone there, apart from the diehard Manly people, was probably expecting a Warringah win.
What do we say? What do we say out of this game about Warringah? Like Josh Ames is saying, it's a wake-up call, but I think there's might be more than that. What do you think?
Well, I've noticed it, and I think it's because, look, it's a new coach, relatively new team and stuff, and by this time of year, it does get hard, and because it is a long year, and I think they're going through that stage where it becomes a real grind, and you got to learn how to get through that. And what I'm noticing is they can't seem to put 80 minutes together like they were earlier in the year. They have patches of 10 or 15 minutes throughout a game. There might be 5 minutes here or 10 minutes there from time to time where they just go off the boil, make silly errors, silly penalties, which is killing them, and they give up points. And they've got to get that out of their game. Otherwise, because you do that in a semi, you'll lose. And I just think that's, I don't know, it might just be an attitude thing, a concentration thing. I'm not sure. I don't know how their bench is at the moment with who they've got coming on and off, but they might have to start making changes through the game, maybe a bit more frequently, just to maybe try and get through that, you know?
Yeah. I think they're still, obviously they're still sitting all right, but yeah.
Oh, of course they are.
But
it's a worry when they've just been having these lapses, and I've seen in a few games, probably over the last 4 or 5 weeks, where they look good, and then they look pretty ordinary for a while, and it's costing them games, and nearly cost them a couple of other games too.
I mean,
they got out of.
And you look at the flip side, like we pretty much I myself wrote off Gordon after the week before, but this was them back to their best. They had a man down for 20 minutes, and then they defended really well, especially at the end of the game. So, hats off to them.
Yeah, the Manly guys looked like they wanted it a bit more on the day. They were, because they have, like the other week when they lost, they weren't playing that physical style, and this week they came out and muscled up front. And so it must be killing the coach at Manly. He never knows what he's going to get.
It's a bit hit and miss, isn't it?
Which one's coming out this week, you know?
Yeah.
But a couple of their guys played really well. I thought their front row went really well. Their back row and their 8. Wait, is that Daly guy still playing? I don't think he came on the field, did he?
I don't remember seeing him on the field. So I'm looking at here.
Because they were using him off the bench.
No, he didn't come on. Maybe he's got an injury or something.
I hope he's still out here. If he's still playing out here, is he gone? Because he's a pommy. Was he going home or?
Oh, well, it's possible, isn't it?
I wouldn't think so this time of year, but especially because there's nothing happening in England at the moment.
The biggest thing I think in the day was Willie O's young bloke playing number 8, and he had a real good game.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
and,
he did.
He looks a bit like Willie in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
probably not quite as big, but he's tall.
No, he's not as big. He's a lot leaner. Well, look, if they can get that Daly back on the bench, because I reckon first part of the season he was a dead set handful, that bloke, and he made a big difference to him. And like I would have thought he kept start, but anyway, they did what they did, and they were using him off the bench, and he was a great bloke to be coming on. If they can get him back for the run into the semis, they'll be a handful as well.
Yeah, Aaron came off the bench again and scored a try. So.
And he's starting this week, I think.
Yeah, I think he's. So anyway, that was around, mate. So the table.
Yeah, read me out the table.
Really didn't move too much. So Warringah 51, East jumped to second, so they're 49 points.
49.
Gordon and Manly 45 points. Randwick 44, North 42. So that's the top 6.
44 and North 42.
Yeah, and then you got Two Blues 33, Uni 31, Eastwood Hunter 28, and then South and West fighting the wooden spoon out. So that's hasn't really changed much in quite a while. Top 6 has been for most of the season.
I don't think it's going to change now. It's pretty hard.
Anyway, right. So let's look at the round 14 coming up, mate. So games. Gordon and East at Chatswood Oval. That's 3 versus 2. That's a big game, mate.
First one on my list is Warringah or Eastwood game.
Oh, you might have different. No, yeah, we'll go there first. Sure.
Okay, but it's just starting at the top here. At Warringah, yeah.
Yeah, Warringah at Brett Park. So geez.
It looks like it might be dry this weekend for a change.
Yeah, possibly. Hard to make a case for Eastwood to win this game, mate. After Warringah will be wanting to hit back hard.
Yeah, I think Eastwood will mix it with them for probably 60 minutes out of the 80. In no particular, maybe not in one bunch, but they'll probably play for 60. And if Warringah play for 80, they should do it easy. But I'd be surprised if Warringah didn't win this fairly comfortably.
Yeah, I really can't make
I think will have a go, but I just don't think just at the moment they're good enough to stop a team like Warringah.
No, and especially after last week, like nothing top teams hate worse than losing 2 in a row.
Yeah,
I want to hit back hard, especially at home, because I reckon it could potentially even get a bit ugly, mate.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. The way Eastwood played last week, I just don't see how they can stop the Warringah Blokes. I just think they'll have just too much firepower for them.
Yeah. So looking at
the forwards and the backs,
teams Warringah's pretty much the same. The only change is that Ben Willett, who normally plays in a wing, he's playing 12. So that's interesting. Apart from that, a couple of different props he's put in. and Eastwood, yeah, pretty much the same as last week. But still no McGregor. Oh no, McGregor's back. Sorry, is it on the wing 11? So he must have been fit again. Yeah, so geez. A couple of props there for Eastwood. I don't really know the new guys, so I just can't make a case for him to win the game.
They were pretty disappointing up front last week. Newcastle out-muscled them, really.
Yeah. But I mean, again, we're in the situation where Eastwood, where if they want to make finals, they have to win.
Yeah.
That's and you know, we know they're not making it, but they have to.
Yeah.
I can't see how they can.
I can't see them. Who's to win this, so you going for Ringer?
Yeah, I'll go Ringer this one, mate. Probably quite easy.
I'll go that one.
So that'll be
next one. I've got Manly and South at Manly.
Yeah, Manly. Well, geez, you start getting a bit fearful for South now, don't you? After last week.
Yeah.
I see Potgieter's going back to number 8.
I'm sure he played 6 last week, but so they're obviously down. What's his name? Guy plays New South Wales. He's not.
Holloway, he's going to.
Ireland, apparently. So he's gone. Douglas is back in the second row, and they got it. When I looked at their team briefly before, it looked like there's a few blokes they've moved around, and some guys I didn't know, and I think it's got to that stage for South where they're getting through a game without getting any more injuries, or they'll have a pretty non-existent bench. So could be a long afternoon, I think. Yeah,
and Manly, they look pretty strong this week.
They want to cash in, because after last week, it'd be shocking if they lost. And look, South struggled with them at home in the first round, and I just can't see them getting close to Manly in this game. No. I just hope their kicker's been doing a bit of practice this week.
Yeah. Well, that really.
I don't know how he kept his gig last week. If I'd been the captain on the field, I would have been looking around as who else can kick it, because he was missing a post by 10 yards. He wasn't kicking well at all. He was having a horror. He couldn't kick that bad again, I wouldn't have thought. Same guy's playing. 5'8's a kicker, isn't he?
Brendan Allen. So Aaron's starting.
Yeah.
Apart from that, it's pretty much the same team.
He seems to just rotate those hookers, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. The only one there that stands out to me is the African kid, Yul. He's back on the wing. He hasn't been played first grade for quite a while. I don't know where I think he was in the 7s at one point, so maybe he's come back. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe he didn't make the Olympic squad or something. I don't know, but he's a good one to have back.
Yeah, well, South haven't got much out wide, mate. I just, if Manly move the ball, it'll be hard enough up the middle, but I'm going for Manly in this one.
Yeah, me too, mate. How that Hunter Ward, mate? If you're a new Waratahs coach, surely he's back. He's in that team next year for the Waratahs. He just stands out every week. He's a hard nut.
Yeah, good.
He's a good player.
Good footballer. Like if you were picking on form, you'd have Houston and him both in the team, wouldn't
you? Yeah. And there's not many players that can play 6 and 7 just as good. He can play both positions easy.
Yeah.
And he can play 8.
Yeah, the way the Waratahs went this year, they should be looking at all these blokes, for next season.
I mean,
what more do you have to do apart from play your ass off every week and be the best player on the field a lot of times for those particular blokes? Gee, you just don't get a look in. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just doesn't make any sense. But yeah,
the Waratahs should look at, if you're not playing well, go back to club football and we'll get someone who is playing well.
Well, that's right. That's how it should be, mate.
Well, that's how it used to be. So you had pressure on you every time you played. It wasn't just turn up and it didn't matter how good or bad you went. You still picked up a check, or you still pick up a check and you're still in the team the next week. it used to be a lot harder because you used to have to, if you didn't play well, someone else would be up your bum wanting to take your spot. And what's wrong with that?
Yeah, paying by the match. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, so anyway, I think Manly.
Okay. Next one I've got West are playing Randwick at Concord. And unless there's torrential rain to save them, I can't see West getting close somehow.
Yeah, we'll see. Randwick's probably in the same boat as Manly. This is probably a game they need to cash in on.
Oh, for sure.
And because the 5 points are going to be crucial with the top 6 places. So, yeah. And
if Randwick play half as good as they did last week, they'll win comfortably, I think.
Well, if they defend like that, West will have no idea what to do.
I wouldn't be surprised if Randwick get in front by a decent lead, he might start pulling blokes off and giving other guys runs and stuff like that. Because I just, like, West will try that really hard, and they've been putting it in probably since the announcement of the coach going. I think they seem to have. Who is coaching them now? Is Gutto doing it?
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, right. Well, they're having a go. I'll give them that, and they're trying their hardest. They just haven't quite been there. But they'll come out hard this week, especially at Concord. But they're playing a class act, and I'm going for Randwick in this one, mate.
Yeah, interesting to see Jack Debrasine having a run for West this week.
Oh, is he? Oh, good on him.
He loves going back and putting on the West jersey.
Yeah, tell you, I do like in that West teams the young hooker.
Yeah,
he's had a pretty good season. Scored a sensational try a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
and did you end up seeing that? We ran about 50, 60 yards.
Yeah, well, I kept expecting him to get caught.
I was sitting on the lounge just whipping him all the way home. We're going, how good is this?
Oh, mate, it has to be try of the year. Got to be.
Oh, it was great. It was like, and the wingers chased him, and the wingers like, oh, will I ever go and tackle him? And he tried to ankle tap him or something. He left him behind. It was great.
But, and have a look at if you have a look at the teams, West Dion's playing again, pretty much the same.
Yeah,
team.
He played last week too.
Randwick's got a new hooker, Scott Buckley. I don't know, maybe they're resting the guy from last week.
Last week had a good game. Was he injured after that?
I'm not sure. I think he might have been actually.
I can't remember him coming off hurt.
Yeah, I can't. I think he might have limped off possibly. But I wanted to share.
I hope he's all right because he's
a good player.
He's a good player.
Yeah. One bloke I wanted to give a special shout out to too is bloke around the name of Ed Kennedy. He was playing for them probably 4 or 5 years ago. He's been overseas.
Who's that, mate? I lost you then.
Ed Kennedy is his name.
Oh yeah.
He's been playing overseas. Real Randwick man through and through. So good to see him.
Oh, good on him.
Playing 6 this week.
He's playing 6.
6, yeah. So,
oh, good.
Good to see how he goes.
Oh yeah. Well, you're giving him a run. That's great. And the more people you can get back this time of year is good. You know, it's happy days because you're generally losing more blokes than you're gaining at this stage of the year.
Well, didn't Porto say his young bloke's going to be back in a couple of weeks? So that'll boost him.
Yeah, I think he did. He said he was still over in the States, but he said he likes it over. He might just stay there, probably because when would this?
They'd be in finals now. They're in finals now.
Yeah, just because I know it runs a little bit different because it's summer over there now.
Yeah.
You know, they can get him back as well. Like, yeah, their bench could be pretty strong.
Yeah, well, it was big. It was big last year when he came off the bench at the end. All right, so yeah, we're both going Randwick there, mate.
For sure. Next game I got North and Para at North Sydney Oval.
Yeah, again, another one of these games, mate, where while two Blues will probably have a crack, it's hard to see anything but a North win. Although you wouldn't say it'd be easy given North's current form.
Wouldn't surprise me if it ends up like Para will probably come out and put a couple of tries on them, then North will come back. But if North get on top of them early, it could be a real long afternoon. But Para beat them in the first round, and North were camped on inside their 22 for about 40 minutes, and they lost. And with COCO not playing, because he's definitely the best player and he's their goal kicker, I think it could be a long day there. I'm going to this game, so I'll be catching up with a few blokes there from Norse and a couple of Para guys. I must mention too, for all the Para people out there, last Sunday at Seven Hills RSL, we had a get-together and a drink for Buzz Burrows, who's a legendary ex-Parramatta player who tragically drowned in Perth about a month ago. He's been living over there for quite a time. He's probably one of the funniest blokes you'd ever meet in your life, and there was a real good turnout. There would have been probably 50 blokes turned up, I'd reckon, and it was a real good afternoon, and he got a real good send-off.
That's good to hear, mate. He's a great man. That's for sure. Yeah,
and he was, and real funny. But no, it's a good afternoon. But this week I'm going North in a big win.
Yeah, much as I got the two Blues hat on, mate, I think I'll be doing. And the great Muncher asked me to do some research to find out the last time the two Blues won at North Sydney Oval. I haven't been able to find out yet. I think it would have been quite a while ago.
Jeez.
Probably
I don't know. When I was playing for a while, when I was at Para, North were in second division. Then they came back up, and I don't know whether I beat them at North Sydney Oval when I was playing for Para. I beat them there playing for South, but I don't know when the last time. Geez, I don't know how do you find that out?
I'm basically trying to go back and.
So actually, I'll find out. Someone at North will know for sure.
Yeah, I've been trying to go back in Rugby News, and I'm.
Yeah, it might have been like 79 or something. Like you wouldn't know. Like 70, I think.
I don't think it was that far because
North beat us in the grand final in 1976. It was 9-6 or something, or 6-3 or something, and yeah, good question. I'll see if I can find out in the weekend.
Yeah, I reckon it's probably maybe 2011 or maybe early 2000s, maybe. I reckon it could be back then.
It wouldn't have been around 2011, 12. North were going all right then.
I think 2013 Para had a good year, but I don't think they beat North at North.
Oh, man, you got me.
No, it couldn't be a while. But yeah, sorry, Munch, couldn't help you with that one. I'm tipping North in that one, mate.
Yeah, I got you.
They look pretty strong too in that team this week.
They'll be right.
Apart from our mate Kitchen starting, but anyway.
Yeah, it's
not upsetting.
Well, in a way for North, if they dispatch Para this week, it pretty much guarantees them a spot in the semis, I think.
Yeah, it nearly closes the door. So.
Yeah, because Para's their nearest rival, I guess. So, that'll fix Para up too. Next game I got is Newcastle v Uni at Newcastle.
Yeah, interesting game.
Wonder if Newcastle can win a home game.
Well,
so,
I hope so.
I don't know if they might only won one at home this year, have they, maybe?
Good question. I don't think it'd be too many because they've had some big losses at home.
Pretty sure they beat Para at home in the pouring rain.
But that wasn't even in Newcastle, that was at Royal as well. So
yeah.
So good question. They've had a couple of 60-point losses at home too. It's fine.
Can hardly hear you there, man. You near the mic.
Yep. They've had some bad losses at home. They've
won more away than they've won at home, I do believe.
They have,
yeah.
I'm not sure they've won a game. Apart from that, like you said, that was a home game at Woolwood.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, you know what? The winner or the loser of this game's finished officially.
Yeah.
The winner may be just still alive.
Yeah. Well, I think they're both already gone, but they'll be officially buried. They'll be putting the tombstone up on whoever loses this one. I wonder if Newcastle, if they play with the amount of ticker and attitude that they had last week against Eastwood, they could give Uni they could beat Uni. It's just the problem I've had with Newcastle this year that sometimes they come out and you wonder which it's just a different team, or they'll have 20 minutes of just playing with no intensity at all, and then having to fight back. And it'd be nice to see Newcastle put a complete game together for a week. You know, they've sort of struggled for that all year. I don't know why, but they've been a big disappointment this year. I thought they were going to be really up there this year, but the coach must be very frustrated with them.
Yeah, I think he's not had a. Well, they beat
front
Eastwood
last week. I thought they were pretty physical last week with Eastwood, and their forwards played quite well, I thought. And they'll mix it with the Uni blokes this weekend, I'm sure. They'd fancy themselves to beat Uni too, I'd imagine.
Yeah, they've won 2 games at home, mate. I was just looking.
2, is it? Right.
Yeah, 2 Blues and Eastwood. I'm tipping Hunter here, mate. I just think we might have seen something trigger last week. I think they might have turned a corner.
They pretty much got the same side they had last week.
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, they played pretty well. I like their front rowers, and their seven's a good player. And one of the second rowers had a really good game last week too. I can't remember his name. But I thought they went pretty well. So yeah, I just can't trust Uni. I don't know. I know they got away with it last week against Para. I flogged them really, but I just can't see them. Not against South. I mean, I think it's going to be a lot tougher for them this week. Yeah, I might go Newcastle in this one as well.
Yeah, I just think they'll be desperate, and they're just not, like you say. I don't think Uni have got that other level to go to. They just play the same every week, as you've been saying all year. And
yeah, and I think last week what I watched of it, they just played a South team who couldn't compete with them really, and it wasn't as if they really did anything different or played a lot better than they had. But it was they were just a class above on the day. And
tell you what, I've got to take my hat off to the Newcastle captain, Rob Pugliavea. They reckon he hasn't missed a minute of footy in 3 years. That's a pretty good effort, mate, these days.
Yeah, bloody oath it is. Yeah, well done, mate.
Well, he doesn't even get replaced. He plays 80 minutes every week.
Yeah, there was nothing wrong with that. I didn't get replaced either.
Different game, wasn't it?
It was like what you used to do, you know? Like, man, if someone wanted to take me off the field, you could stick it in your ass. Like, it'd be insulting.
I remember a funny story. I was playing a game and I tore my fucking hamstring. It was so bad I couldn't fucking run. And I yelled out to the coach. I said, I'm fucked. I need to come off. He said, we've got no replacements. Go in the wing. So I played in the wing for the next fucking 30 minutes with a busted hamstring.
I wouldn't have done that. Hey, I would never heard the end of it if I played on the wing. God help me. But
funnily, they never ran at me. I can't work out why.
Hey, who on that, is it August 3rd Newcastle game?
Yeah.
Who are they playing that day?
Manly, I believe.
Oh, is it? Righto.
Yeah, we'll see if we get there. We'll try.
So booked in for that game. So
we'll have to tell our friends.
On tour weekend, that one.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about that. Whatever.
Yeah. So we're both going Newcastle?
Yeah, that one, yeah. what did they lose? Gordon and East. That's what
Gordon and East. That's at Chatswood.
Chatswood, mate. Yeah.
I was talking to someone who was either drove past or went past Chatswood on the train. Oh, I think it was middle of last week. I think it was before the week. It was before the weekend, and they reckon the place is just a mess. It's had a hard year there.
Yeah.
Some of those games they've played on it. The cricket club there is going to have the shits on, but that doesn't really bother me. But it looks like it'll be a dry game, so this will be an interesting one, really.
A real test for East, don't you reckon? This is a big test for East, mate.
It's going to be a test for Gordon as well. Like, because they're coming off a real hard game, and like I said to a few of the Gordon blokes after last week, they shouldn't be too worried about that game because they didn't play bad. They played well, and they lost. But it wasn't anything to worry about. I didn't think it was. They just happened to get beat on the day by the Randwick team that was a bit better than them on the day. But they lost a game where they played really well.
Yeah.
It's a lot different to losing a game when you play like shit. So I think they should go into this game with a fair amount of confidence and with a pretty big hunger to not lose two in a row.
And to get second spot back, that'll be a bit of a motivation too.
Yeah.
What
they don't need now is, because I know who they got the week after. They can't afford to be losing two in a row, and then, if they've got another hard game next week, they lose three in a row, they're on the slippery slide, after having such a great season. But then again, that East team's a good team, and they've got half a team of rep players. They've been playing pretty well all year, apart from their lapses in defence and stuff. This should be a good game. I'm not too sure about this one.
Yeah, it's a hard one to tip. I'd probably favour Gordon, but I would say East are very dangerous because their attack.
Just wondering if Gordon are going to have to play field position against him, because I don't think Gordon have got the attack to score from the other end of the field. They score. They score when they get in the red zone. They're pretty good from there. East have probably got a little bit on them out wide, I think. But, and they'll throw it around. They'll do their fancy doodah stuff they've been doing. But I think they could be running into some brick walls because that Gordon defence is very good.
Well, that's where my thinking is. If Gordon defend like last week, East won't have a hope.
Well, you think about last week, Randwick threw probably every move, every play, attack and play at him, and Gordon held. And it was what does worry me is how they're going to recover after that game.
Yeah.
Because that would have taken a lot out of them. That was definitely probably the hardest game they've played all year. And when you don't do that every week, it does, I suppose, it's a bit of a shock to your system, I think. But the coach has got him in a good place, I think. So I'm going Gordon at home, mate.
Yeah, I'll tip Gordon here.
But
it could go the other way.
I think it'll be real close. Might just come down to goal kicking. I tipping Gordon at home.
Yeah, and you know what? It was a bit like this game reminds me of the game about 3 weeks ago where East played Randwick, and I said that this was a game for East to make their claim. This is like another one for me. If they can't stand up here, you can pretty. I don't think they could win the comp personally, but they have to beat Gordon if they want to go close.
Well, they're going to. The first thing they've got to do if they're going to be a contender is fix up their defensive lapses. But they're going to get tested this week because Gordon played really direct, and I think if they get back, especially that direct running they were doing earlier in the year around the ruck, where they're just moving the ball and they're hitting the ball hard and running straight and running some angles around there rather than just running up in pods and going to ground, they if you don't defend well against them, they make busts, and that's how they were winning for the majority of the season, I thought, and I think Gordon might be pumping it down the other end all day than getting back to where they had been playing like that, because it was a pretty good formula for them.
Yeah, sure.
But look, East are dangerous, and if you've only got to miss a couple of tackles or something, and they score on you. They've got a lot of speed, so I just think Gordon might be a bit too good from up front.
Yeah, I think they will be on the day, so that's pretty much complete.
All right, mate. That's a round, mate.
So I thought before we go, I thought we just briefly touch on the Wallabies.
Can't hear you, mate.
The Wallabies this week.
Okay, team came out today, didn't it?
Team came out today. There's not many changes actually. He's kept most of the guys the same. Charlie Cale playing 8. I don't know if you remember, he played for Emswood a couple of years ago. Good young kid, good number 8.
Oh yeah.
Got a Beecroft Junior, so he's playing 8. Valentini's gone to 6. Apart from that, the pack's the same.
Slipper's captain, I heard on the radio, the Savo, I think.
Yeah, James Slipper's captain this week.
Yeah.
That's pretty obvious there for me. We queried the selection of Jeremy Williams a lot, but he had a pretty good game for his first test.
Yeah.
So he's going back again.
Yeah.
The back line's exactly the same, which is good.
Well, look, I'd expect them to play better than they did last week.
Yeah.
And a lot of respects, I expect Wales to be a bit better too, because I thought they went through the motions a little bit. But that, and I think from what I heard from some sources, they had a pretty big week partying coming up to that game.
I heard that.
And I mean, from what I heard, it was almost every night of the week. So I think they might, are they out here on a vacation?
I think this is going to be a better test match than last week. I think it'll go up a level with both teams, and it has to. Just a couple of interesting ones on the bench, too. Langy Gleeson, who's from Manly, he's on the bench.
Oh, is he? Righto.
And Nick White and Ben Donaldson are on the bench this week. So that's, the coach is obviously going to look at the whole squad, which is good. Do you remember playing against a bloke with the last name Nasser?
Couldn't hear you there, mate. What?
Nasser, Nasser. Do you remember a bloke by that name?
Yeah, he played for Queensland.
Yeah, well, he's young blokes playing.
Brendan Nasser, something like that. He was back row.
Yeah. Well, his son's playing this week.
Okay.
Josh Nasser, he's from these Tigers, so that's another debut, mate. Looks like.
What position's he playing?
Hooker, the reserve.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, good luck to him.
So the coach is doing the right thing. He's having a look at different players. One of the criticisms I used to have of Michael Checker is that he used to use his whole squad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
well, these are the sort of games early in the year where you're playing a touring team who, it's not the Blacks or South Africa. This is the time to start look at Blacks in these games, because it's not as big as the games coming up. So it's good opportunity to have a look at people. So you can't look at them at training. It's just not the same,
So that makes me think, get your opinion on this. They played Georgia in the last test. So do you reckon against Georgia he's just going to throw in a whole lot of young blokes in there to start?
Well, he should. After that, we've got to play the big games, don't we? So
yeah,
I'd probably be starting with what I might be looking at for the tests against the Blacks in the box, and then possibly checking out some other guys after that, or vice versa. You could do it the other way around, I guess, but probably want to start your best team, what you think's going to be there or thereabouts, and then and with a few new inclusions maybe, and then start checking out the other guys. But by the sounds of that team, it looks like he's checking out a few people this week.
Yeah, so
now's the time to do it, really.
And he's got to get to know the players too. So I suppose it makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. But
anyway.
I think they'll win. I just can't see Wales backing up, and I'm just not sure so certain. They're not going anywhere else after this, are they? Not going to New Zealand, are they?
No.
So they'll just be going home.
Their season doesn't start for a while, does it? So this is like the end of their season.
They what is it? No, they won't be doing it. They'll be having a holiday when they get home.
Yeah, so they're
kind of on one now, I think.
Well, it seems that way.
Well, they're probably having a drink now somewhere.
Just the last thing, mate, touch on, like, the All Blacks played England and they won 16-15. Did you catch any of that?
Yeah, I watched the highlights of that, and it was All Blacks looked a little bit off. Well, look, I wouldn't be too concerned about that game. They're going to be tough, mate.
Yeah,
they just got so many good blokes there, and you can interchange probably half the forward pack and most of the back line with other blokes, and it doesn't really make them any different. Don't worry, they'll be up in a month's time or whenever it is. Are they playing again this week?
Yeah, I was shocked because I didn't think it'd be that close. But hats off to the Poms. They had a real dig.
Yeah, they did. And where's the test at this week?
I think it's at Eden Park.
Right. Look, I'd expect the Blacks will hit back. They wouldn't be happy with a performance like that.
I wouldn't.
They made a lot of mistakes, but I think they'll be all right though.
Yeah, that's right.
The blokes they got, you can't not be all right. I think they're going to be strong, and it's going to be hard for everyone else playing them. I think even the Box will have a hard time with them, and we'll have a hard time with them. I just think they've just got so many good players at the moment.
Well, they have. They've got depth. Yeah. But anyway, that brings us to the end, mate.
All right, mate. All good.
Enjoy your day at North Sydney. Unfortunately, guys, I won't be out there this week. I've got to work, but
no worries.
Catch up with Chew if you see him.
Yep.
And we'll talk to everyone next week. And
all right.
Enjoy your club rugby. Don't forget to like and subscribe our page on YouTube, guys.
Yep.
And I'm moving the page around different apps as well, so we'll be more seen, hopefully.
Okay.
And,
no worries. All right.
Have a good one, Chew.
See you later.
Get this.
Get this.